So at the Game Awards, we got an announcement that a demo was going to be dropping for the highly anticipated Forspoken. Now, I've been hearing since the demo dropped a lot of random chatter about it. Some people saying the game is good, some people saying the game is mid, it's boring, it's so-so. But you know what I say?
What? You're fucking high! Are you out of your mind?
So today, I'm going to give you my thoughts after playing through the demo, exploring the break, and picking a fight with just about every baddie I could find. Let's get into it. So if you guys didn't know already, Forspoken was originally slated to release in 2022. However, the decision was made by the developers to delay the game in order to give it more time in the oven. Now, you know me, I'll never scoff at developers taking the necessary time to get it right. And to smooth things over, we got a surprise demo drop at the Game Awards that you already know. I had to try it out. And guys, let me tell you, this game is different. Now, I don't mean different in a bad way. In fact, I'd say that this game combines some really interesting mechanics from other games that I've played in the past that kind of work well together. While the combat does feel somewhat familiar to other games that you might have experienced before, you know, leveling up characters, skill trees, XP, treasures, you name it. There are some interesting and unique qualities to this game that I think makes it stand out, that I'm hoping people will be willing to give it a try when it actually drops. But where do I stand on the game? Is it good? Is it bad? And the most important question, is it worth your time? Well, only you can decide that for yourself. The demo is available right now, but if you just want to hear my thoughts on it, let's get right into it. Now, one of the things that I think really shines in this game is the movement. And I gotta be honest with you, that's probably one of the elements that I like the absolute most, because you don't get around as you would in normal games by horseback or car or whatever. No, you get around on foot, but it's not the arduous task that you might have experienced in other Final Fantasy games of endlessly running around for hours. No, you get around here in style. So you play as this character Frey, and every couple feet that you run, you get a nice little speed boost that pushes you forward throughout the landscape. And I gotta say, it was the most fun that I had exploring a world in a long time. The ability to run around and cause absolute chaos was nothing short of godlike. However, the one caveat that I did experience with this mechanic and the kind of movement was how hectic it could be at times, especially in fights. Some fights I would get into and kind of lose control over my character, because with the spells that you have at your disposal, things can get a little chaotic and there can be a lot of things happening on the screen at once. Combining that with a very rapid moving mechanic can sometimes be a little arduous and somewhat chaotic, and not necessarily in a good way. This complaint could totally just be due to my absolute shite gameplay ability. However, I can only hope that there's a way to adjust your movement abilities through some sort of level tree or some sort of upgrade system that we haven't seen in the game yet. Now, remember that this was only a demo, so we were only getting a little gist at the movement, some of the combat, some of the exploration opportunities that will be at your disposal. But I'd like to think that there are some secrets that they are holding close to the chest that we won't find out until release. My only hope is that the movement and the ability to change your movement or perhaps upgrade your movement so that you're moving faster or slower or whatever, I can only hope that there's an opportunity for us to kind of adjust this in game, but only time will tell. All in all, minor complaints aside, I did find that the ability to traverse carefree throughout the environment with incredible speed and agility was nothing short of an absolute blast. Like I said before, I had a great time being able to just kind of free roam the environment, pick up materials that you would be using for crafting or upgrading your character, and really just kind of moving around the world in a way without very little limitations. The only limitations that we had in my time playing the demo was obviously certain areas you weren't allowed to explore, so the game would bring you back, or, you know, certain areas that you couldn't necessarily reach. But it would appear that, you know, throughout much of what I did play, this game is really focused and fine-tuned on traversal. So that's something that, you know, I guess I'm just gonna have to get used to. But the ability to kind of free roam, run around the area, have a good time, search for things, avoid fights that you don't want to get into was all at your disposal from the jump at this demo. So I'm very excited to see how this kind of plays out and how you integrate the story into this in a way that, you know, kind of pulls everything together. The other thing that really stuck out to me was within the combat and build possibilities. Now, within many of the menus that the game gives you, there's appears to be a number of opportunities for you to upgrade Frey's character, from the different magic that you'll be able to possess to the what appears to be these kind of enchantments that you can put on her nail polish that give her different abilities, defensive and offensive attribute upgrades, and so on and so forth. And the cloaks that you are able to acquire within the game that also have their own stat bonuses that you can utilize to help enhance your builds. And all of these things from what I saw in the demo were upgradable, especially the cloaks. I really liked the detail and the visual quality that they put in the cloaks, the way that they kind of flow in the air. I really enjoyed those. The general design of the cloaks were absolutely badass, and the ability to kind of build them in a way that can help increase your damage, increase your defensive capabilities. I really enjoy it. I'm very excited to see how we're going to be able to turn all of this together, push this together in a way that absolutely dominating the battlefield. And as someone that grew up kind of loving builds and JRPG style mechanics and upgrade skill trees, I couldn't help but imagine the possibilities of destruction that awaits me. Now, in terms of spell options, we were only given 2 different skill trees during the demo. We got Phrase Magic, which is more like earth bending, and we got something called Sila's Magic, which definitely had me feeling like I rose straight out of the Fire Nation.
You are right. I do have the power. I have all the power in the world.
Without a doubt, I found myself building around Sila's magic a lot more because I love the ability to play with fire, and I found her abilities to just be stronger overall. However, I did spend a little bit of time upgrading Phrase magic as well, because as you can imagine, if you guys are familiar with RPG mechanics, there are enemies within this world that are immune to certain types of magic. So, and I kind of like that. It gives you the opportunity to kind of mix and match, flex how you can do things. And the thing that I really loved in this game that I didn't find out until the latter hours of my demo, all of the spells and all of the skills that you acquire in this game are on their separate timer. Whereas before, I thought you could only select one skill tree, whether it was Sila's or Phrase magic, and within those skill trees, you could only have one skill active at a time outside of your normal attacks. So you had normal attacks that were activated with kind of your R1 button, and then you had other attacks that were kind of like special abilities that were activated with your L1 ability or your L1 button press. And so I thought you could only use those. Once you use that ability, I was under the impression that you were kind of you couldn't use those ability until the cooldowns ran out or until you did enough damage to where you can fill those meters up to use those abilities again. But however, when I got to the latter half, I realized that there's a lot more destruction at your disposal in this game because you can use an ability either with L1 or R1. And once you use like an L1 ability, whether that be Bombardier, which kind of allows you to do this kind of flaming kick ability straight out of the Fire Nation, you can easily swap over to another one of the abilities that you've unlocked, use that ability, and then kind of keep going. And so it had me instantly thinking of the order in which I wanted to do certain attacks. I would use I don't remember the name of the ability. I think it was like Cataclysm or something that kind of invokes the entire area in flame, but it also boosts your outgoing damage. So I would kind of I'd proc that first to get an increase in damage. Do the I forgot what it's called. Like it's a pulling attack that you do with Sila's magic. So it's like a flaming rope that you can pull enemies forward towards you. And then I would hit them, swap over really quick to Bombardier, and then do the flaming kick for even more damage while they were enveloped in this kind of flaming well of radiance, if you will. And I found that to just be the most addicting gameplay loop. And that, again, like I said, that's only with 2 of the magic abilities that existed within this tree. There are a number of other abilities that we had at our disposal that we could have used. A flaming lance, a really big flaming sword that you could slash enemies with that dealt heavy damage. The options were really there. And I feel like we were, again, only given a small portion of what potentially will be available when the game actually releases. And if the skills that were available are any indication, we're gonna have a lot of fun with these builds. So if you hadn't figured it out, I really enjoyed Sila's magic, but Phrase magic was really good for kind of locking down enemies, wrapping them in vines, which allowed you to do critical damage to them. So I could see myself swapping over to Sila's magic once they're wrapped up within the vines, and then kind of just doing heavy damage to enemies that are kind of locked down. So again, a lot of opportunities here, but I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed using the kind of enchantments that we could use for the nails and combining that with some of the cloaks that we had, because we had a couple different cloaks at our disposal, and some of the magic. Man, there's just a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of fun. So without a doubt, found myself using Sila's magic during much of my playthrough. However, I will likely build into Phrase magic as well. This is due to the fact that some of the enemies are immune to certain types of magic, something that can be expected out of a game ripe with RPG elements. So we talked about some of the things that I enjoyed in the game, whether it be in the traversal, whether it be in the combat, but the grass wasn't always greener. For example, the main character's relationship with this magical AI that she found strapped to her chest when she transports into the break felt kind of weird. Now, this might just be because we didn't have a lot of context in terms of who this character is, what her relationship with this AI is, what both of their goals are. That might have been why, but I kind of felt disconnected from Frey. Now, granted, this is such a minor complaint given the fact that it is a demo. At the beginning of the demo, you get a very short little brief story as to like who these characters are, what their relationship are with the bad guys. and you kind of, from there, you just kind of let loose and you get to just traverse a small area in the game. I'm assuming this area that we got to explore is probably going to be kind of a kind of kickoff space, a place to kind of just get going and get your feet wet before, you know, you really dive into the game. But yeah, I just found myself a little disconnected from the character, and I wouldn't say anything about it other than just some of the dialogue that she was having with the AI did feel a little disjointed. Like she came off very rigid and kind of sparse, a little short-tempered a little bit. And so I'm curious to see where that aggression comes from, where that kind of character dynamic comes from with her relationship with the AI. Again, we won't really know until we play the full game, but that's really kind of my first impressions. In the end, my hope is that we learn more about Frey as the story goes on, that she, you know, begins to kind of feel a little bit more fleshed out character. Again, it's just a minor complaint that I noticed that perhaps fits very well with her character, but I'm staying optimistic that the first impression changes when we actually get to play through the story. The other thing that I found a bit annoying, which is, you know, it's a small thing, but the music playing throughout roaming the land, I found to be a little bit jarring at times. Now, this is something that you can change. I did find myself lowering the music from time to time because, you know, really my complaint with this is that the land is so beautiful and lush that I really just wanted to experience it, listen to the sounds of the birds, you know, listen to the air flowing through, you know, the wind flowing through your fingertips and things like that. But the music at times, especially when you're roaming, was just so damn loud that I had to turn it down, to the point where halfway through the demo, I just turned the music off entirely. And I found it to be a much more enjoyable experience to just kind of be a part of this world. And, you know, even if you played the music probably at 10% or whatever, it might not be so bad. But that's just, again, a minor complaint, something that can be easily fixed. But pro tip, if you guys just want to explore the world and you get tired of the same song playing over and over, I highly recommend just turning off the music. Now, I don't know if this is something that they're going to keep in the main game or if they just had some music playing just for the demo purposes, but yeah, I guess we'll see. But if you don't like the music, you can easily just turn it down. It is an absolute game changer. When all is said and done, guys, I found myself really enjoying the demo. I knew very little about this game going into it other than one minor trailer when they announced it over a year ago. So I went in with relatively unbiased eyes, and I must say, like, I was pleasantly surprised. The minor gripes that I have with the movement or whatever is not nearly enough to detract me from what was otherwise an enjoyable experience. The game's sandbox is teeming with life and a lush green landscape, and I cannot wait to explore more. My only hope is that there are other environments that we can explore. I'm talking snowy landscapes, I'm talking sand dunes, I'm talking, you know, really whatever. I'm assuming that the game isn't just going to be this same green landscape throughout. We only got to explore a tiny portion of it, but the tiny portion that we did get to explore was pretty widespread with a lot of things to do, fortresses for you to kind of liberate, kind of like Assassin's Creed, safe houses for you to go into that had useful gear and items for you to assist in upgrading your character all throughout the lands, and other areas for you to explore, opportunities for you to level up certain stats and abilities. All of this was available to you at the demo. Optional fights that you can get into that give you optional, I'm assuming like really good loot. There was an optional boss fight that we got at the very end that gave us some pretty good loot, and then the demo ended. So I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of opportunities within the game for us to explore and challenge ourselves, and I'm really excited for that. I can't wait to play this game with you guys live on stream, shameless plug. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good experience. So if you have not checked out the demo yet, hopefully this review helped you steer you in the direction one way or the other. I hope that you guys will give it a chance. The demo is completely free to play and gives you, I would say, a couple solid hours of just getting used to some of the mechanics of the game and giving you just a little bit of a taste of what we can potentially experience come January 2023. And I gotta say, from my experience playing the demo, I'm very excited about this. I'm excited to learn about the story as someone that is really big into kind of like magic and stuff like that. Hogwarts Legacy coming out next year as well. I'm very excited to see how this game fits into what is already a very stacked year of incredible games that we get to experience together. I cannot wait to play this. This is definitely a game I'm going to be playing live. So if you guys do enjoy content and you want to see live streams of me playing this game, please hit that sub button. It greatly helps out the channel, really helps support me. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. We're doing streams multiple times a week, so there's many opportunities for you guys to come in, for us to hang out, all that good stuff. I cannot wait to play this game. A lot of great games and a lot of great stories and experiences for us to have and share together next year. So I'm really looking forward to it, or I shouldn't say next year. By the time you're watching this video, it might already be 2023. So if you found this video enjoyable, please help out by dropping a like or hitting that bell icon so you never miss a video from me. Subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean the absolute world. Also, check my other videos out. Links to those will be available in the end card at the end of this video, or you can just go to my channel page. We got a ton of videos and shorts over there ready for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And as always, my name is That Guy Rye, and I will see you in the next video.